Hello and welcome, everyone. This is Twitchy Tuesday. That's what you have joined, where we are thriving live once per week to discuss all the astrology. And I got two different tarot decks ready to go. And today I am so happy you are here joining us as we explore the transformative energies of Mercury in Virgo and really discovering how to harness how Mercury in Virgo, where he's in his home sign, so he's pretty happy over here. How we can harness those energies and its power in our lives. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with all of our astrology insights and future celestial forecasts. Let's jump right into the astrology of the week. I think this Twitchy Tuesday is going to be pretty it's going to be robust. We've got some good information, but I think it's going to go pretty fast today. There's not a lot of direct aspects. Really, Mercury and Virgo is the big thing. Yes, we have this T square with Pluto and nodes. We are definitely going to be talking about that as that's really becoming prominent this week. But we really only have Mercury, Pluto, and the nodes. Like those are the conversations that are happening this week. So I'm not even going to go to the full card screen. We're going to stay here chatting. And I'm just going to be pulling some tarot as we go through day by day the astrology. Okay. So first off, just to let you know, the tarot decks we will be using is the Morgan Greer tarot. This is the full size. I have my baby one too. I got the mini tiny tarot. And then I do actually have tiny tarot when we get to Mercury and Virgo. And this is the now I just like name just escaped me. The everyday tarot. This one is a tiny tarot. It comes in a nice little box. You can see it right there. So those are both in the description box already. Speaking of, if you have been looking to get any sort of tarot in your life or want somewhere to start, this everyday tarot deck, incredibly comprehensive website on this tarot deck itself and the cards and what they mean, etc., along with spreads. There's books that you can get that go with this tarot deck. But if you follow the link in my description box, the link that I gave has this deck right now for $9.74. You can't beat that. When I went and got the link, I was like, whoa, that is, again, if you're looking for a deck, that might be a great place to start. Okay, today. Today, although it's not really the start of this conversation, we talked about it a little bit last week, but today is one of the exact squares between Pluto retrograde, which is currently in Capricorn, and our new to Aries North Node, which also means because the nodes are in an opposition always with each other. That also means that this is also squaring the South Node, which just got into Libra. And that is occurring at 29 degrees, 3 minutes. So, this is what is called a T square. You have a planet at a center point, and then you've got that planet squaring two different objects. In this case, it's the nodes and Pluto retrograde. So this T square is highly active. This is not the start. In fact, there is another square in that exact same configuration, just a degree. Let me think, 3, 4, 5 arc minutes later on the 28th. So this is an ongoing conversation that started last week on 7/22. And when the nodes got into Aries and Libra, these are all cardinal signs. Squares happen in similar elements, or in similar modalities, I should say. So these are all cardinal signs: Capricorn, Aries, Libra. And that T square started when the nodes shifted. So the nodes shifted, immediately started to apply to this T square. But when it became highly active, where we got actual like exact moments, is from 7/22 to 7/28. And then it will remain active, just not in that prime phase as Pluto and the nodes begin to move away. So this is a very present in this moment. You could have started feeling it last week, but there's really something opening up with this. And the last time Pluto squared the nodes, 2014, 2015. Talked a lot about those dates. Really think through, that could show you, because when we come to a square, it's a tense conversation. It's not, there's things that need to be looked at. There's things that are brought to the table that are up for review. They're up for deliberation. Queen of Pentacles just popped out. They are up for a deeper understanding on what needs to change to, again, this goes back to Pluto, what Pluto wants with us, which is in our sovereignty, in our self-actualization, what Pluto wants with us in Capricorn, in our self-mastery, in how we traverse the world, continuing to transform and upgrade us over and over and over again. And 2014 to 2015, Pluto was squaring those nodes. I think it was around December when this occurred. This, it's that continuation. Think back, 2014, 2015, what were you doing? Where were you at? Now, where are you? How have you grown? It's like meeting Pluto back here, and Pluto's kind of like, all right, we're at this table. Tell me your story. Tell me your journey. Get me up to speed. 3 cards just came out. 2 of Cups, the Star, and the Knight of Pentacles. So it's this like, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about how you're feeling. Pluto in Capricorn, like there's little room for that, but even kind of in that Aries, but that South Node in Libra. The other part of this T square, that South Node in Libra, is coming to the table saying, hold on, it's a 2. There's something we've got to balance here. Let's talk about how we feel about how we've grown. We need to acknowledge, and that's what Pluto loves to hear here. That's what Pluto loves to hear, is acknowledging how great you have grown, acknowledging the changes that you have made. But not only that, with the Star, acknowledging, like, here, there's 2 different urns here full of water, right? It's acknowledging where you have been, what needs to be poured out, what needs to continue to flourish. It's acknowledging that, am I really where I want to be? And if not, that's okay. How do we get you to transform to get there? These are the questions that you and yourself are going to be working through during this square time, is, as you've seen this journey unfold, what still needs to be, poured into, and what can be let to wash away, what can be let to drain away, move on from, etc. So this is also, you know, I looked at this too. Hello, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. Um, there is this interesting aspect with the North Node in Aries, right? So what I love about the nodes is they're in consistent retrograde. They always go backwards, or clockwise, if you will, around the zodiac. And as they're going, they don't start at a sign at the beginning where things are birthed, things are, brought forward, things are updated. What they do bring is they go backwards. So they start at the end of a sign. So you get this North Node with all of this like amazing baggage. They have the understanding, they have the wisdom. They just got through a new sign, they cleaned out all of that. They're coming in with something. So we're not starting fresh. And that's what the nodes need to be sitting at this table with Pluto explaining. Whoa, 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 Pluto. Before you get all hyphy into all of this, before you want to sit there and like, oh, let me judge your journey and everything. How can we transform? Let us tell you, let us bring you along where we have been and what we have been doing since we last met here. And Pluto then in that assessment, allowing Pluto to sit back, allowing Pluto to take that moment, allowing Pluto to hear the journey, the honest truth, telling Pluto the honest truth about our journey. That's like Pluto can point out our blind spot. Pluto then can ask questions and can challenge what we're saying to make sure we're in our integrity, we're in our truth. We don't have any other sticking points or blind points that is going to prevent us from getting to our evolution, our highest path and purpose. And really, a lot of this is we are in a transformation right now, right? Venus just got in retrograde into Leo. We are doing this Ace of Rods. There's a lot that is coming up right now. There's a lot that is being brought forward, brought into our purview and awareness. We're able now to see a lot of these things. We're able to take action on a lot of these things. And this can be that time to use this energy to reform what we're doing right now. Understand how we're going to be bringing this forward, understand how we're going to accept this gift. I will tell you, this is a great time to work on how you project on others. Temperance, temper your projection on others. It's a great time to work on shadow work. Really cleansing and clearing the aura, the auric field. It's acknowledging what shadows you have, owning on into that, owning those. Um, and it's not about becoming, right? It's not about, oh, okay, well, I've got this over here. Let me wallow in all of that. No, 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 no. It's about the transformation, the transformation of those things, the evolution of things that make me go, and roll back. Let me pause for a moment and then work on so that way I'm not projecting that onto others. I can allow others that are in that mind space, just allow them to be. Allow them to be. So shadow work can be really great this week. I'm going to quickly skip down to 728 because that's the other time where the Pluto retrograde in Capricorn and the North Node, South Node will square. Again, North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra. That will be at 28 degrees, 58 minutes. So again, 722 to 728, and even a little bit beyond, we are dealing in this. So T square is activated. And then the 26th, thankfully, there are no direct aspects. We get to really sit in this square. We get to be present at the table. We get to pay attention. We get to see what's coming up for us. And then on 727, Mercury and Leo will conjunct Venus retrograde in Leo at 28 degrees, 12 minutes. This is Venus's first meetup since she's been retrograde with another planet. So Venus and Mercury conjunct, and then on that same day, Mercury and Leo will trine the North Node in Aries at 29 degrees 0 minutes. 29 flat. So the 29-degree marker, I'm gonna go there first. The 29-degree mark is an anaretic degree. Eight of Cups just popped out. It's an anaretic degree. It's the accumulation degree, right? It's this degree of when planets get to 29 degrees, this is not including the nodes because, again, they work backwards. But when a planet has gone from degree 1 to degree 29, there's been a lot of shifting and movement, and planets can tend to be, call it lethargic at that time. Like they're exhausted, right? They've drained these cups. They are, I'm going to see if I have a feeling other cards want to come out during this conversation. They've drained the cups. We got the Tower that just popped out. And again, another Two of Cups. So we've got the Tower that just popped out, the Two of Cups. And let's get this one we want this one over here. Okay. So they're lethargic. They're tired. They're done kind of, they're like, okay, I got to get to this next sign. I've got to get into this fresh energy. I've got to get into a new mindset, a new way to go. I've kind of done all that I can here. There's a change that begins to occur. There's a breakdown of, all right, Mercury, I am moving on from Leo. I am headed into my hallelujah, my home sign of Virgo, where I am the ruler. And did I do everything that I wanted to do while I was in Leo? It's that question and answer. Did I leave some cups? Right? This is not a 10. There's 2 cups missing here. Oh, wait, we found it. Found it. We have these 2 cups, but they're not in one card. They're not maybe all in one place. And so it can be that trine between the nodes again while the nodes are in this active T square with Pluto. They're really going to be looking to Mercury. Mercury has been on a huge journey with Pluto over this year, and they're going to be looking to Mercury like, "Hey bro, you got anything for us?" As I'm going to this table, as I'm talking with Pluto about my journey, what's been happening, as I'm bearing the tower, as I'm bearing my soul to Pluto, looking for this transformation, trying to get to the answers that we need. Do you have any ideas or insights how I can take this 8 of cups, this 8 of cups and this 2 of cups and bring them together and complete everything so that way we can move on from this square in power, in purpose. And Mercury in Leo is like, you got to drudge it up. You got to drudge it up because not only is he now trining the North Node, but like arc minutes before this, he's conjunct Venus in retrograde, who is also looking for something from him. So it can be a little bit for Mercury. Thankfully, it's fire, and thankfully, he knows he's going home to Virgo. So it can be a okay. I've got something. Let me pull that up. Let me think about it. Let me actually take time. And when Mercury in Leo conjuncts Venus retrograde in Leo at 28 degrees, we just had the 7 of Cups pop out, as well as 7 of Cups. Ooh, okay, hold on. That's what we need to do. 7 of Cups and 4 of Swords just popped out. This is really funny because my first words around this conjunction with Mercury and Venus retrograde, be aware of your money. There's something here, something is clicking in that's like, be aware of what is unseen. Be aware of what is hovering over you, and especially in your finances. If there is changes that you need to make them. If you have, I have the 7 of Cups here. You could have a lot of financial decisions to be made or a lot of financial options. Mercury in Leo is like, bruh, Venus, sis, I'm headed to Virgo where I am way more useful in this area. Maybe let's pump a brake on it. Let's put a brake on getting any more cups right now. Let's put a brake and let's actually clearly look at the decision. Clearly look at the purchase contract. Clearly look at all of the fine print. Clearly identify what might be not in our best interest right now. So that came up really prominent for me. The other thing that came up was don't fall on impulse, right? Don't make those impulsive with Mercury Leo conjunct Venus in retrograde in Leo. If this Venus retrograde is already like firing up all areas of your life or a particular area of your life, don't give in to the impulse because Mercury and Leo can be impulsive. So now you got a Venus retrograde wanting to be vindicated, wanting to be like given permission, validated is a good word. And Mercury and Leo can do that impulsively. So watch on that impulse. There could be something here that could come up where you've had a change, right? This Venus retrograde, again, she's been in her shadow, the Queen of Rods. You have a change that you know you want to take action on. So Mercury, this conjunction can really help you analyze, support the plan, analyze all of the data, the information that you have in front of you to make that change and begin to actually be able to take action on that change as Mercury then makes his way into Virgo, where he can provide that level of support and that detail. It's a lot about this conjunction can be a lot about making things run smoothly. Making things run smoothly. That Venus retrograde is making a little bit chaotic potentially right now. But again, you have to be able to not fall into your impulse control. Judgment. Judge yourself fairly. Do you have that, right? Where is the wind taking you? How do we make that horn blow smoothly, clear tone? Move yourself forward in that enjoyment, in the way that you need to move forward. There is also something else, because again, Mercury and Pluto, so going back to the North Node and South Node trine with Mercury, there's been a conversation going on with Pluto and Mercury. I talked about that a little bit earlier. And that conversation, I can't remember what Twitchy Tuesday we talked about it in. It would have been one of the first couple of Twitchy Tuesdays at the beginning of the year. So if you look on the live tab on YouTube, or even in the video, like our highlights, it was probably more towards the beginning part of the year, where we talked about Mercury and Pluto and their journey together, and that Pluto was going to be giving something to Mercury. What that was, we have no idea. That's for you and you alone. But whatever Pluto gave Mercury, it might be, we have justice. It might be time. We have the Two of Swords, and we have, again, the Knight of Pentacles. It might be time to rehash whatever Pluto and Mercury, like, think back to that conversation. If you're an active journaler, look back. If you use your honeycomb like I do to kind of write down like feelings during important transits, etc. There could be something that's coming up here. That the North Node and the South Node need, right? They're kind of in working with Pluto right now. They haven't worked with Pluto in this manner, in this square, since 2014, 2015. They're a little blind. They're a little blind to what's been going on with Pluto over this course of time, how that Capricorn has really been working with us. They're a little blind to our journey outside of the journey that we've taken around the zodiac with the nodes. But where has been our journey with Pluto and Capricorn? What are some of the things that, again, going back to that conversation, are we judging ourselves during this conversation? Like, maybe that's what Mercury can help clarify, is that there's no judgment needed. There's just, we need to acknowledge where we're at, and we need to then be able to move forward. And then the 28th. This is going to be the end of the week, y'all. Like the 29th, 30th, 31st. This is how we end July. We end July with nothing. The 29th, 30th, 31st, nada. There are no aspects within a 3-degree orb. And I am just quickly pulling up my August. So our next Twitchy Tuesday will be on August 1st. But we actually, which is okay, yeah, August 1st is where everything else begins to come up. So that's when the Aquarius full moon happens. Mars in Virgo trine Jupiter, Mercury in Virgo opposes Saturn. So there's some heftiness to the very, very, very front end of August. But the end of July, we kind of get to sit. We get to sit in this T-square for the end of July, and these conversations, and get comfortable now with the nodes being in Aries, being in Libra, and all the other changes, because Mercury's headed to Virgo. So now we get to incorporate that change as well. And, thank goodness Mercury is headed home. Switching out tarot decks. Thank goodness Mercury is headed home. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about Mercury and Virgo. So that is going, Mercury will ingress into Virgo on 7/28, and he will stay in Virgo. He has an extended stay. So if you did catch my 2023 astrology overview, if not, you can find that on YouTube. Mercury is doing his retrogrades in earth signs this year. And that does include starting off in an earth sign, heading back to a fire sign at the end of the year, which will take us into 2024 and Mercury's transition then to his next round of retrogrades for 2024. So he enters into Virgo ready. No, we know he's going to retrograde here. So and he's extending his time here. He will be here from 7/28 all the way until October 4th. Whoa. All of August, all of September. That is a long stay. 8/23 is when he retrogrades. He retrogrades at 21 degrees, 51 minutes of Virgo. So we will absolutely talk about that when we get into the Twitchy Tuesdays where that aligns in August. But just to kind of give you a welcome home Virgo, here's what you're going to be working with. That retrograde will sextile the moon and trine Uranus. So again, it's going to be, he's close to Mars. He's co-present with Mars immediately when he gets into Virgo. He will retrograde close to Mars. It's outside of a 5-degree orb, but still within that last decan. So it's still prominent. That Mars Virgo energy is still there and palpable. And then he will hit his Cazimi on 9/6. So that is when the Mercury and the Sun will be conjunct, where he's in the heart of the Sun through his retrograde, where then you have this moment of shit, clarity. That's what's going on. I am energized. Let's get the second half of this retrograde over so I can then bring all of these things that I am learning and I can integrate into everything. And that will happen at 13 degrees, 37 minutes. And then he will station direct at 8 degrees even. 8 degrees even, September 15th. And when we get to September, we will absolutely talk about that and talk about the alignment of 8 degrees with Virgo as well. So that is where he will station direct, and then he will carry on forward until 10/4 where he will ingress into Libra. And what came out? We had the 9 of Swords come out. So the reason why I chose this deck for Mercury and Virgo, this everyday tarot deck, is because it is so stark and crystal clear in its presentation and in its energy. And that's Mercury and Virgo to me. Mercury and Virgo, there's, 9 of Swords for all intents and purposes. Mercury and Virgo is typically grounded in the mind and stable. This card may kind of indicate maybe otherwise. But if you are a native Mercury and Virgo, if you are, shout it out. I too am a native Mercury and Virgo. Put it in the comments. I love Mercury and Virgo. I love. It's one of like I love my whole chart, but I love that I have Mercury conjunct Venus retrograde in Virgo in my chart. It really it's one of my things. It's one of my things. But Mercury in Virgo, for those that have them in their natal chart, there is this grounding of the mind. There is this stability of the mind. It's very practical. It's very logical. It's very common sense, right? It's more analytical than it is anything else. It's this, how do I want to put that? There's something with Mercury and Virgo that has nothing to do with the long game. That's more of Virgo's other half, right? It's more about the small things in our lives. So the small things that make up our lives. Because don't forget, Virgo is still, it's the 6th house. It rules the 6th house. it is still in the self area of a chart. So the first 6 houses are really about us as individuals, us in the earth, us and who we, come from, our ancestry. It's really our roots. When we get to Libra, which then goes from the 7th to the 12th house of a chart, those signs, Libra to Pisces, those signs are much more about us exploring ourselves in the context of the greater picture, in the context of the ethos and the cosmos and all of those other things, how we learn, how we develop, how we gain understanding about our place and about our knowingness that we are energetic beings having a human experience. So Virgo is that last rung, right? It's the 6th house. It's that last rung before we make that transition, before we move that forward. And so it's still part of the little things of our lives. It's learning things, but maybe not retaining them because they could change later on as we gain experience through these upper levels of our houses, right? It's completion of small tasks, things that were maybe left unfinished or overlooked as we were kind of more up here, more doing things at a higher level. A great example that I can give of this, like look, my passport's still not fixed, y'all. Like it's been on my list. I've had it on my list this whole year. Like I need to go and do that. But it's one of those small tasks that aren't really, it's not part of the puzzle piece of the larger picture yet. That doesn't mean that it's not going to be. It's part of the weaving of my life. I need to go and get it done, but there's other things that have taken priority. Virgo, especially Mercury in Virgo, can clear all that shit up. Like, oh no, we're gonna figure out a way to get this one done. Justice and Three of Swords popped out. This is the second time we've seen justice present. Justice, like that can be a literal term. Mercury and Virgo, right? There could be a reckoning. There could be a truth that has to come out. There could be, again, this could be the justice of tying off loose ends that are affecting the long term or tying off the little things that are needed, those completions of the small tasks. Maybe it's something where you're like, I have been thinking for eons about doing this in a court, doing this with a lawyer, doing that with a tax accountant, anything that are I'm really getting like lawyer and tax accountant. I'm getting like business. Like if you're like, man, I've really wanted to go start that LLC. That this Mercury Virgo, think through all of that, right? That's a great way where Mercury and Virgo can analyze and put it into place and be like, these are the next steps necessary. Let me take that off of your list. Um, Three of Swords. It's also a great time because there is Mercury and Virgo allows you to balance and understand that the world is not logical. It is without reason. Mercury and Virgo wants logical, wants reason, but with Venus doing her retrograde in Leo during this time and Mars also in Virgo, I think that Mercury is going to be able to balance that a little bit more during this season. And it's good to get a little bit logical when it comes to matters of the heart, this Three of Swords. When it comes to matters of, I always align three again with the ancestors when it comes to knowledge of where you're at and how you work with your ancestral lineage, where you're at within your own journey of your lineage. There's also, again, I'm really picking up too matters of the heart. Mercury and Virgo, great time to go clear out those pictures you don't want no more. Those ones you just been hanging on to, great time to update all of the social medias, get rid of the things that are no longer aesthetically in alignment with you. It Mercury and Virgo can give you that energy to really get that done. Um, the other two things just to watch out for with Mercury and Virgo. Look, Stupidity's real and we got to deal with it. Uh, Stupidity is real and we got to deal with that. And Mercury and Virgo, that can be a challenge. We talked about that shadow side coming out. Shadow side coming out. The other thing is overanalyzing. This is analysis paralysis central. If you're working in those lower vibratory energies of Mercury and Virgo, you know, you 10 of cups, you don't over analyzing and not taking any action is not going to get you to the end goal. It's not going to get you to the completion point that you want. And I think like I'm really feeling that this 10 of cups popping out right here, we mostly know that. I think we've gotten enough over this year. I think we've gotten enough through our journey that Mercury and Virgo that's something to watch out for. But once you watch out for it and once you acknowledge it and you see, oh wait, I'm actually overanalyzing this, you're able to pivot quickly. Mercury and Virgo natives, so those that have Mercury and Virgo in their natal chart, I will tell you, dude, barbecue masters. Like if you do anybody watch the Food Network? Bakers, baking competitions, barbecue masters, like anything competitive that has to analyze. Like I think about I've seen a couple of like the barbecue big barbecue competitions and stuff like that on the Food Network. Eight of Wands. And man, that is preparation, analytical thought, quick, swift action in the moment. Like it's with Mars here, with Mars co-present in Virgo, like that could be something really cool. Like it could be watching like those barbecue masters, those baking competitions, and what can you glean from how they process things, how they do all of that. If you are in an area where there are competitions like that, might be a fun time to go and look at those sorts of things. And with like conscious effort to go, how does this align with the astrology? How does this exemplify Mercury and Virgo? And then how can I take some of that for myself? The last thing before we are all done that I want to talk about with Mercury and Virgo is, we did a lot, the moon, the moon. So this is where this unclear comes in. Um, we talked a lot about Mercury and Virgo as just the energy signature. That's what we were doing right there is like, these are kind of what native Mercury and Virgo, healthy Mercury and Virgo, the lower vibratory Mercury and Virgo, what that can show up as. But what we have to do is we have to come back to grounding. We have to come back to truth. We have to come back to the reality of the situation. Here's my Mercury and Virgo and my third coming out. Mercury is walking into a bunch of shit when he gets into Virgo, right? Um, Acknowledge that, be okay with that. Mercury is okay with it. He knows there's things going on. He knows that things are happening. He knows that there are tensions happening right now. Problems could be present. And there are a lot of things that need to be solved. Two of Pentacles. There's a lot of things that need to be balanced right now. There's a lot of things that we need Mercury and Virgo to help with. We need that energy. And he's here for that. He can help solve those problems, the Knight of Wands. He can help us take that swift action. He can help us take and apply a plan, right? Typically, like the art of war. That's what's coming up in my mind right now. I was actually just reading The Court of Silver Flames. If y'all are Sarah J. Maas, holla. Put it in the comments. Love Sarah J. Maas. But I'm finally finishing this. This is also a journey I've been on, getting through the Court of Thorns and Roses series. But in there, one of the characters, Cassian, is talking through like and Nesta. They're discussing warfare and they're discussing it from the standpoint that war is not just about being able to fight. It's a lot about strategy. And that's, the art, what the art of war teaches and everything. Your battlefield that you choose to fight the war on is just as important as how many soldiers you have to fight that war. Your, it's reminds me of Troy, right? The Trojan horse, and getting creative and crafty and coming up with a plan that will help you solve the issue at hand that maybe during the last couple of months you just haven't been able to break through. Mercury, what was this last card? I feel like this was important. Oh yeah, the Knight of Wands. This is a lot about rebuilding after an event. So a lot of us may have had events occur. This Venus, again, retrograde in Leo, the node shifting, Pluto having this T square. There may be things that are already being in played or have already come up where we have to now rebuild. We have to start over. And Mercury and Virgo can give you creative ideas. The key is you have to be able to welcome them in. You have to be willing. The Hanged Man, you have to be willing to listen. You have to be willing to suspend yourself, suspend your belief, suspend your long held views and visions, because more than likely, Mercury and Virgo is not going to give you the answer that you want to hear. It's going to give you the answer that you need to hear in order to move forward. Again, practical, logical, and practical. That's what Mercury is going to give you. But if you take time, the Hangman came out in our Luna sub reading as well, which is live on YouTube. That brings in the harvest. There's still things that are suspended. There's still things that we need to think through. The creative ideas may be there, but it may take time. It may take a moment. It may take a level of pause. It may take till Mercury is done with his retrograde or Venus is done with her retrograde to truly be able to integrate what the gift of Mercury and Virgo is giving. And with his co-presence with Mars, this is just putting all of those final touches on things before the harvest. So let's see. Nope, I don't think any more cards want to come out. So thank you for that, Spirit. So that is our week. Again, I knew this was going to be a little bit of a quicker Twitchy Tuesday because really it's these big conversations and then the integration piece of it. So let's clear space and then we're going to bounce. We're going to get out of here. All right, clearing space. Our goal of 1,000 subs on YouTube and 100 subs on Twitch for Q3. You can see right here where we are at towards that goal. I did update it today. Boom, win for me. We are at 275. Thank you so much for everybody that has already followed. We didn't accomplish our goal. We are still going to hit that goal. I'm very excited to keep seeing that number grow. And the only way that that can happen is through your support. So make sure to head to YouTube right now. Go to my channel. It's at Twitchy Tuesdays and make sure you are subscribing and following. While you are there, there's a few things that are there. August is already scheduled on YouTube outside of the 29th because I have to schedule that over the weekend. We're not at that point yet, but almost all August is scheduled. You can go to the live tab on my channel and then you'll see all of you can join me. And also, like I just mentioned, the Lunasa special that we did on Sunday is up. It's live. It's out there. You can go and learn all about Lunasa, the next Sabbath on the Wheel of the Year. That is occurring on August 1st. We did a full tarot reading with a whole spread. So you can get into that today before actual celebration begins on August 1st. And if you did music and want a specially curated playlist of songs to vibe to, you want to check out my Apple Music channel. That link is also found in either the description box or the About Me section on both YouTube and Twitch. We've got Saturn return playlist. We've got Saturn and Pisces playlist. We've got a tarot reading playlist. I love music. I love listening to jams. I love creating playlists that totally one of my favorite parts of being a yoga teacher back in the day. So that can all be found there. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing y'all next week. Bye.